Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Holly Circles.
As it should be.
Or if you're like my husband, he introduces himself as Mr. Reverend. Oh, I just love unity.
Yes.
I do, and I have since I stumbled into a Unity church in Seattle, Washington, over 35 years ago when I was about 4. Yeah, I loved this spiritual path that's enriched me and empowered me in so many ways. But then I have to ask myself, is all that enrichment, is all this empowerment, is it just for me? Or am I called to do something with it? I would suggest that the answer is yes. And here it is, Labor Day weekend. We're talking about labor. We're going to talk about our labors of love that flow from our expanded awareness and our empowerment to bless others and ourselves. We know from prosperity principles that as we give, so we receive. And it carries out beyond our financial gifts. As we give of ourselves, the universe responds in kind, and everyone is blessed. That's spiritual law, and that's prosperity. You know, the first 4 unity principles are all about awareness and expanded consciousness. The 5th principle is about behavior. And it says, knowing and understanding the laws of truth are not enough. We must also live the truth that we know. Our goal in unity, our goal as spiritual travelers in this world, is to live consciously and take action as guided by the Christ within us, by that spark of divinity. We sang about it this morning. I love that opening song. Show me how I can be of service. Show me the way. Speak to me, God. Speak to me, Christ within me. I got some wonderful things to give to this world. Dr. Albert Schweitzer once said, the only ones who are truly happy are those who have sought and found how to serve. We say it a little differently in unity. We say, we're how God gets around in the world. You've heard that before, haven't you? And God can do no more for you than what God can do through you. You know, if we don't do for others in love and generosity, the universe, which is God in expression all around us, cannot do for us. We've got to prime the pump. We've got to get things going by giving. This isn't meant in any way to be a demand or shaming. It's simply spiritual law. And those of us in unity understand that the more we understand and comprehend spiritual law, put it into action in our life, the more we are blessed by it. It feels good to give of your God self. And you know, when we feel good, we are beacons broadcasting happy, excited, joyful, good energy out into the world, and the world has to respond in kind. That too is spiritual law. That is metaphysics. That's the way the world works. One of the things I've enjoyed over the years is reading how science, again and again and again, is documenting for us spiritual principles and why and how they work. And what science tells us through a lot of medical testing and PET scans and brain scans is that when people are engaged in giving to others, doing something for others, giving of themselves, the neurons and cells that make up what's called the pleasure part of our brain light up like a Christmas tree. Our brain just loves it when we give of ourselves. And when those pleasure centers light up, endorphins are released throughout our whole body and we feel good. Spiritual law is being confirmed by science, and it's exciting to see it play out. Our loving, positive actions not only bless us, they blessed others. What do you think about when you think of giving from your good? In the New Testament, recorded in several of the Gospels, there are a series of stories that Yeshua, that Jesus the Christ told in the week before his crucifixion and death. And they're all lumped together and called the Olivet Disclosures. Apparently, the Mount of Olives was where a lot of these parables, these stories were delivered. And keep in mind that a parable is a teaching story. What I'm going to share with you is the parable from Matthew 25, verses 34 to 40. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me." And the righteous will answer him, "When did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you as a stranger and invite you in, or naked and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and come to visit with you?" And the king said to them, "Truly I say to you, to the extent that you did this to any one of these, my beautiful creation, even to the least of them, you have done it for me." Yeshua understood we are all innately and intimately connected. We are one. And he was trying to teach people that as we give to others from our fullness and from our oneness, we are recognizing that connection that we all share. I have a friend that texts me periodically about different things that need to be done that he's working on, and I love his texts because he always signs them, "Yours in service." We need to adopt that into our lives. You know, I know in the 12-step program, service is a requirement of participation in the program. Why do you suppose that is? Service gets us out of ourselves. It draws us out of our own stuff and helps us remember our connection with other people. It teaches us empathy and understanding. It also helps us appreciate all that we have as we recognize that we have much that we can give and share. You know, service even can help us develop skills that we never knew we had. I stand up here today as a minister, but about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I was a platform leader like John. And I was involved with leading several different ministries in my Unity congregation, and I served on the board. All service, all because I was passionate about that spiritual community. And boy, did I learn a lot. And what I learned in service has really equipped me to serve you as your spiritual leader here at Unity in the Valley. Our service blesses us and it blesses others, and we get to feel good about ourselves. We value ourselves more, and we value others. We wake up to our shared humanity, to our own divinity, and that of others, and to the oneness that Yeshua was attempting to convey. I have a couple wonderful stories about service I want to share with you. Years ago, I had a boss, a man by the name of Ron, and he was very successful in business. He had a beautiful home in Apple Valley. 3-car garage wasn't enough. They needed 4 because they had lots of toys to store. They had property up north. They had a boat on the river, property down in Florida. And he was also very generous with what he had achieved. He was a very devout Catholic and supported, among other things, the St. Joseph's Children's Home in Minneapolis. And he came waltzing into the office one day and announced that henceforth, on Wednesday afternoons after 3 p.m., he was not available for anything to do with business. No meetings, no phone calls. At 3 o'clock Wednesday afternoon, he was done for the day because he had made a commitment to spend time with the children at St. Joseph's Home. And when I asked him about that, he said, you know, anybody can give money, but these children need love, they need attention, they need someone to hold them, someone to listen to them, someone to talk to, someone to mentor them. And I'm that someone. And he made a commitment for years. Every Wednesday afternoon, his office door was closed with a bang as he ran out, headed for his car, and headed over to St. Joseph's Home to be with these beautiful little children. And Thursday morning was always fun because he would come in just bubbling over with all the stories of the children and the things that they had done together, the things the kids had said, the things that he saw that the children were learning. I've got to believe he was a blessing in the lives of those children. And there is no doubt in my mind that he was blessed by the service that he gave to them. There was a time in our lives, my husband and I, where we were facilitators for what's called family to family. If you've ever had someone in your life that is dealing with a mental illness, you may have come across NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And having been touched by the mental illness of our son, who ultimately died of his illness, Lee and I were very motivated to do what we could to advocate for others. Family to Family is a 12-week class. Every one night a week for 12 weeks for 2.5 hours. We would get together with family members who had a loved one dealing with a severe and persistent illness. And with our great big 3-inch binders, a very comprehensive syllabus, we were able to educate them and share with them things that they needed to know as they dealt with their loved one. 12 weeks, that's a long commitment. And it wasn't just the night of the class. The night before the class, we had to block out because we had to do our preparation, our study. And of course, we'd arrive at the location to teach the class about an hour before because our trunk was full of boxes of materials for the class, of coffee pots and tea arrangements. So we'd have to haul all of this stuff from the car into the building, set it all up, set up the room, and then welcome the people that came to the class. Then for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, our complete and total focus was on the people in the class and what their needs were. And then at the end of the evening, we'd have to pack up all this gear again and haul it out to the car again, get home with it, stash it in the garage. It was exhausting, and it was exhilarating. It was always hard to sleep that night after class because we were so uplifted by the response of the people that we were reaching out to and the knowledge that we were making a difference in their life. It was work, but it was truly, truly a labor of love. I was visiting just yesterday with a friend, we'll call her Monica, and she announced to me sometime last fall that she was now doing volunteer work at the local food shelf. So when we were talking yesterday, I said, so what was that all about? What brought that on? I know that Monica, for about the last 3 years, has been dealing with a whole series of medical interventions relative to breast cancer. She's had multiple surgeries, she's had chemo, she's had radiation, she's been going through the mill. And thankfully for her, she's come out on the other side of it, and she's doing pretty well. Knowing this background, she shared with me when I asked, why are you volunteering at the food shelf? She said, so many people were there for me in so many ways during my illness. She said, now that I'm better, now that I'm healthy, now that I have some energy, It's time for me to give back. And she said, not only that, to be really honest, I'm really tired of it being all about me. We were puttering around in Hudson the other day with some friends and walked into a store and they had the coolest t-shirt. I almost bought 95 of them for us. And blazoned across the t-shirt it says, less about me and more about we. Isn't that a great idea? That's what service is about. But as we consider serving, it's important that we serve not because we're supposed to, not because someone says we should, not because spiritual law says you have to give to receive. How we serve, where we come from in service, is as important as what we do. If you give grudgingly because you feel like you have to, it's actually counterproductive. Remember, you're broadcasting into the universe your feelings, and grudging feelings don't get the same response as joyful feelings. And if you're giving to get, I have to tell you that's not really going to work too well for you either. Giving from gratitude, giving from joy, giving from an awareness of all that you have, all that I have, giving joyfully and generously because we want to give, that's what's going to make our light shine in the world. And that's what's going to draw the response of the universe, flowing back into our life in wonderful ways. When you think about giving from your fullness. Now, what on earth does that mean? Giving from your fullness? I would suggest that you start by going within. Getting quiet. Connecting with Mother, Father, God, and you. And becoming consciously aware of how God works in your life day in and day out. And from that awareness, you might find yourself connecting with a sense of gratitude. And from that sense of gratitude, as you feel full, then you are ready to give from your fullness. I would also caution you to be judicious in your giving. When you give to the point of exhaustion, when you're giving of yourself so generously that you're actually starting to resent it, that means it's time to back off. It's time to step back and take care of yourself. And then once again ask Spirit, where am I called to give? How am I called to give? And how much of me am I called to give? Ellen Davenport, who wrote one of our wonderful Unity books, says when it comes to giving, we need to ask ourselves 3 questions. First of all, do I affirm divine intelligence and love in this situation? Think about it. Think about your volunteer work, whether it's here at Unity of the Valley or out in our community. Does your service affirm divine intelligence and love? Does your service help you remember your own divinity and the divinity of others? And of course, we have to ask ourselves, am I aligned with God and the universe, the good? And am I being divinely guided in where and how to give? If you can answer these 3 questions positively and affirmingly, then you know that you've stepped into the law of giving and receiving, the cycle of giving and receiving. And as you give, all will be blessed. We have some pretty exciting opportunities for giving these days. You may have noticed there was a major weather disturbance down in Texas recently. Hurricane Harvey has displaced so many people in so many ways, and that's, well, most of us remember Katrina. We know this is going to be an ongoing challenge for those folks for a long time. I am moved when I look at some of the reports of people, everyday Janes and Joes, citizens, lined up to go to Texas with what they have to share. You know, a lot of them aren't even doing it under any organization. They're just going because they have a boat that can be used, or they have surplus food that can be used. Or if you own a furniture store, you open up the store and invite all of the survivors to come bunk at your store. Isn't that cool how people are responding to that? The hurricane is a horrible tragedy, but look at what it's bringing out in people. A lot of us do remember when the same thing happened in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, or Hurricane Sandy on the East Coast, or 911, even some of the school shootings, horrible things that we would never wish on anyone we loved or care about. But what wonderful opportunities for us to give from our hearts. When we give, it's important that we step out strongly and confidently. And when you consider your giving, I invite you to challenge yourself. Commit yourself to something you believe in, something that speaks to you, and give more than you ever thought you were capable of giving. There are so many opportunities, not just weather-related or social challenges in the world, but there's also social justice issues that need our involvement. Maybe you want to mentor a child. Maybe you want to teach someone a skill or a talent you have. What speaks to you? What do you love to share? That's what you want to tap into when you consider what you're going to give of yourself. I'm excited to see that more and more school districts are making community service a requirement for graduation. Isn't that neat? I remember hearing from a girlfriend who happened to be in Lincoln, Nebraska at the time, and her son was required to give 100 hours of community service if he wanted to graduate. And so he chose what was important to him. He loved hockey. And so he went to coach and mentor youth that were learning the game of hockey. He had a blast, the kids learned from him, and everyone was blessed. That's how you decide what to give of yourselves. And I encourage yourself to consider making a commitment. You know, a little bit here, a little bit there. One-time giving is good. But when you find something that really speaks to you, when you find something that stirs your passion and your interest, make a commitment to be there and keep showing up and making a difference. You see, it's not only a commitment to serving others, it's a commitment to yourself and your own spiritual expansion. We are so richly blessed, aren't we? And as we count our blessings with gratitude, it's natural to want to share some of that. Give of your money, yes, but also give of your time. Give of yourself, because we are how God gets around in the world. You can make a difference. You can enhance your own life journey by committing to give freely and generously and regularly of your time and talents. And as you give, not only are you a blessing, but you are blessed. And before we step into meditation, I want to tell you about two more opportunities to give. If you'd like to give of yourself, we can join the YOU and the Uniteens and their parents and sponsors. Sign up in the lobby. It's the 22nd of September. We're all going to go to Feed My Starving Children and package meals for those that are hungry. Another way that you can give is there's a basket by the front door. Donations for Hurricane Harvey survivors. We've done a little research, and it turns out the United Way in Texas is waiving all of their administrative fees so that any donations for Hurricane Harvey victims will flow straight through to those who need it. So that's in the basket by the door, and right outside our sanctuary is an area to sign up to join Feed My Starving Children. Dig deep in gratitude for all the abundance that we enjoy. And from that gratitude, open your heart and be a blessing, even as you are blessed. So let's move from our lesson to our time of meditation. As you settle into your chair and get comfortable, you may want to close your eyes and be aware of how that chair supports you. For you are lovingly and firmly supported in this world. As you move your awareness from your outer world to your inner world, connect with God in you, with awareness of the rich and wonderful blessings you enjoy as you sense the divine in you. Express your gratitude for all that we have comes from God, our source. Now in this sacred and safe place, we simply relax into the presence of all that God is in this silence. I am so grateful, God, for all that I have been blessed with in this world. I'm grateful for the time, for the talents, the knowledge, the skills, the capabilities that I have. And I open my mind and heart to Spirit, inviting direction on the wonderful ways that I can give back to this world, and the wonderful ways that I can bless others with all that God is in me, and the wonderful ways I can experience all the blessings of giving generously. For in gratitude for all my abundant blessings, I choose to give graciously and generously of myself, and in so doing, bringing more peace, more love, more joy into my life and into the world. Thank you, God. So it is. I invite you to gently become aware of this time and place and join Jenny and Holly in our meditation song.
This is new to most of us, unless you've been lucky enough to be a Unitine or a YOU person. So Pam, this is for you and for all the beautiful work you do with those teens. And I look forward to singing this many, many times in the coming years with you during our meditation. Please prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, sanctuary for you. Please prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Please prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. One more time. Please prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. If I could tell the world just one thing, it would be we're all okay. If I could tell the world just one thing, it would be we're all okay. And not to worry, 'cause worry's wasteful and useless in times like these. I won't be made useless, won't be idle with despair. I'll gather myself around my faith, for light is the darkness most fear. If I could tell the world just one thing, it would be we're all okay. And not to worry, 'cause worry is wasteful and useless in times like these. I won't be made useless, won't be idle with despair. I'll gather myself around my faith, 'cause light is the darkness most fear. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. Yes, they're not yours, they are my own. And we are never broken. Poverty stole your golden shoes, but it didn't steal your laughter. And heartaches come to visit me, but I knew it wasn't ever after. We'll fight, not out of spite, for someone must stand up for what's right. not yours, they are my own. Yes, they're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken. In the end, only kindness matters. In the end, only kindness matters. I will get down on my knees and I will pray. I will get down on my knees and I will pray. I will get down on my knees and I will pray. Are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. Yes, they're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken. My hands are small, I know. Yes, they're not yours, they are my own. Oh, they're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken. We are never broken.
We are
God's eyes.
We are
God's heart.
We are
God's hands. We are reflections of God. We are reflections of God. In